we're back with another episode of What's Hockey. My Dallas Stars got eliminated from the
Pretty
playoffs. It is, it's a shame. It's painful. I don't want to discuss it, but I have to, and I will. But before we do, Keaton, around that hockey, what you got for us?
So not too much, but does look like Rope Hens did confirm that his foot was fractured after that slash by Darnell Nurse. So pretty ridiculous that there wasn't really anything that ever transpired from it. But I mean, then again, it was an undisclosed injury until now, so it's not like anybody really knew how bad it was. But I did know when he came back, like the refs were like, hey, if we see that shit again, we're going to call you for it. Because I think they were trying to like test the waters, so to speak, as far as just kind of hitting them in that foot.
What kind of affluence is that? Hey, I saw you commit it. And I know that it's against the rules, but I'm not going to do anything. But if you do it again, I'll be forced to do my job. Like, bro, just make the call. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. But
so
I mean,
stupid.
still. Yeah, pretty crazy. Other news, Yanni Gord did sign a 6-year, $13.98 million contract. Stays with the Lightning long term. Kind of a weird situation, at least for the Lightning's standpoint. Not too sure why they'd want him long term, especially being 33 years old.
Well, I think
kind of weird on Tampa.
I think it benefits both the Lightning and Yanni Gord, being that he's 33. He's not going to getting a contract that long is going to guarantee a nice paycheck coming in the mail for a minute, even if you're way past your prime,
or trade him.
But $2 million is not a big hit. And this year, I had it right here. I think he had like 15 points in 20 games or something like that, 14 and 21. So, I mean, he was a productive player from the moment he got there from Seattle. And yeah, it's not a big cap hit for them, which allows them to spend money on other pieces that they can then try to make the playoffs again. So I think it works out for both of them very well.
It's all right, dude. It's just kind of one of those things. Hey, guy gets paid. But not too much else after that. So we'll see what happens in the offseason for all other teams. But we've got the Stanley Cup Finals coming up. It is the rematch from last year. So we've got Oilers versus Panthers, and Zach Hyman definitely got surgery, so he's definitely out for the postseason indefinitely, or rather just out for the postseason for sure. But sucks for them, I guess. But honestly, Corey Perry kind of just fills that role regardless, like I had mentioned previously. So they got depth. And I know the Panthers do as well. I believe Reinhart came back for that last game. Didn't really contribute much, but he still played. But I think they're pretty healthy on their end, at least on the Florida side. So pretty nice.
Yeah, Florida, as far as I'm seeing right here on the injury report, they just have AJ Greer, but I mean, no one ever says, hey, AJ Greer's carrying Florida over here. They're perfectly fine. Corey Perry
played pretty well.
Okay, but I think you did mention Corey Perry stepping in to that line where Hyman was, and he opened the scoring in game 5 of Stars in Edmonton. And before that game even started, I knew he was going to play a pretty big role. I took a gross Corey Perry over 0.5 bet that day because I knew he was going to get one on us, and he unfortunately did. I just think they're so deep, Edmonton is, and a lot of their role players don't get a lot of credit. I know coming into the Stanley Cup playoffs, you and I talked about, they're improved upon, they improved their roster upon the what they had put out on the ice last year. But that being said, I still think there were countless pundits calling for the Kings to get it done this year over Edmonton. I think they were just undervalued the talent behind McDavid and Draisaitl. But we've seen Nugent Hopkins go crazy. And so going into the Florida Panthers series, I think, damn, dude, both teams, it's a rematch from last year. It's going to be a better matchup to me than last year. I think Edmonton is less banged up as opposed to what they were last year. And I think they're
same
deeper.
With Florida.
And Florida's well, man.
Kachuk was playing through like a broken sternum or something crazy. I don't even know. It's
last
ridiculous.
Season. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they won the cup. So
yeah.
So I mean, I think they're overall more healthy than having to deal with a broken sternum. So I mean, that's a lot better than.
Don't get me wrong. Like Hyman is still definitely a big loss, but again, they're just so deep, man. I think they'll be able to, weather that for a little bit. Yeah, for sure. And I think additions they made at the deadline, like Wallman, I think Wallman's such an underrated addition. I know in the moment, there weren't a lot of really big name defenders traded at the deadline, right? He was amongst like the top 3 at that point.
I mean, when the Red Wings got rid of him, he was kind of a nobody. But when he was playing with the Sharks, I mean, he stepped up big. I mean, they were able to get, quite a bit with him as far as like trade value. Played pretty well. I mean, he's a solid player. I mean, I knew he was always on the Red Wings shootout and always performed the gritty when he won the game for us. So,
dude, okay, so you mentioned that grit right there. That's to me where Edmonton separated themselves in this year. Oh, I thought you said gritty. My fault.
Well, I did. The dance, the gritty.
Oh, I thought you were talking about him
not just like grit,
having grit.
In
oh
general.
My goodness. Okay,
totally. No, he performed the gritty for a celebration.
Okay, I thought you were saying he was.
You're gonna tell me that's he played easy to do?
No, who cares about that?
All right, dude.
All right. Anyway, all I was gonna say was I was just gonna mention Edmonton's defense. No, dude, I was just gonna mention the grit. I thought you were talking about grit, and so I was gonna mention the grit that Edmonton played with on the defensive end of the ice. Because my God. Yeah, they just suffocate you, man. So I don't know. I was just going to give a little bit more credit to what they do with Wallman, fuck Nurse, by the way, but and all the other.
I mean, they shut down the Dallas Stars in the third period in back-to-back games. Probably even the game before that as well. I didn't really see much stats, but I mean, I think they had 7 shots on goal in both third periods in the last 2 games they played in that series. Pretty stuffy, that's for sure.
Their forwards get back and play great defense as well. Even if you get shots up, they're not always going to be quality. I think they do a really good job of protecting the center of the ice, and they really limit you to kind of like further out shots on the perimeter. At least that's what Dallas was extremely limited to this year and last year. I was just going to talk about the defensive intensity that Knobloch has brought to Edmonton since he really arrived.
Intensity?
I said intensity.
No, I know, but
defensity.
You said defensive intensity.
Defensity? Okay, yeah. They're really a defense. I can't say it.
All right, dude.
I cannot say that.
All right.
Anyway, Florida, on the other hand, Keaton, we all know how goddamn good they are, and they've just had a ton of rest. Is that rest? Have they been resting while waiting for Edmonton to get it done, Keaton, or are they just feeling fresh as a daisy and they're going to come out and dominate?
Bro, are you stupid? They both ended in 5 games. They both had the same amount of rest.
Florida had 2 extra days, though.
Like 1 day.
I think we had a travel day in between, did we not? I could be tripping.
I don't think so.
I felt like their series ended a month before ours did. I don't know. Maybe it was truly just one day.
Started before yours.
It felt like so long. I don't know. Anyway, I do think Florida's
the second day, but barely anything.
But yeah, I mean, you and I talked about the injuries or lack thereof of injuries on Florida's side. I feel like they're truly just as fresh as possible. 5 games against Carolina. They swept their first series. Oh, wait, no. Wait, did they lose a game? Yeah, Tampa lost. Tampa won one. I'm sorry. Tampa got one on them.
God,
Toronto did force them to 7, but that didn't. I feel like they're fresh.
I don't think any series got swept. I could be mistaken, but I don't think anything got swept.
That is correct as I look at the bracket. But that being said, I mean, 2 of their series were as short as you could possibly make it this playoffs, 1 game. I mean, I just don't think that they're hurting. Like, I think Edmonton's a little bit stiffer with Hyman and I thought someone else got banged up, but I'm tripping.
Matthias Ekholm's back, so I mean
Ekholm is back. That's right. Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, I feel like the East doesn't have much competition, so it's kind of a sure lock for the Panthers to come back, if not the Canes. But the Canes looked absolutely just befuddled against the Panthers. I don't even know what was going on there. But yeah, East side just kind of sucks, I guess. So we'll see what happens. But the Oilers look hot, and I mean, if they're right on the heels of playing such a great game, I mean, they can hold on to that intensity.
Yeah, I think one thing
as opposed to resting and cooling off and leaving,
one thing
letting that go, I guess.
Yeah, between Florida and Edmonton, one part of the matchup that's going to really interest me is that Florida, even against Carolina, wasn't getting a ton of shots on net. It was just more like the precision of their attack. And so I'm curious if Edmonton is going to, control the puck in the offensive zone, putting pressure on Bobrovsky, or if Florida is going to kind of, I just don't, it fascinates me to think about that matchup because I'd always assume that Florida is going to control possession of the puck and be on the attacking end. But based on how the last series went with them in Carolina and the Stars versus Edmonton, I really feel like Edmonton will kind of start out on the front foot. I don't know, man. I think that pressure on Bobrovsky could be interesting. I still, of course, am taking Florida there, but I think Edmonton stands a much better chance this year than what they did last year.
Yeah, I guess so. But, I mean, they took it to 7 games, and I think it was an overtime loss, so they could have won that game. So, I mean, if you're saying that they have a better chance to winning that series, then, I mean, that would mean that they would win the cup, right?
I would say they have a better – I'm not going to say they're going to win it. I do still think Florida takes it. But I think it's last year going into the finals, I felt that Florida was going to completely dominate. I thought Edmonton was worn down with the series with Dallas. Prior to getting into
they have like Canadian Jesus behind their team for whatever reason, so they just have miracles.
Yeah,
they just win.
I suppose. I don't know, man. Shit. It's gonna be pretty good. What do you think? I've always said I think Florida's gonna come out on top. Who do you think ends up winning it?
It's gonna be quite the interesting matchup. I mean, I want the Panthers to win, but I have a feeling that the Oilers might win. Just because of their depth and what they've done this series, or rather last series, and this entire playoff matchup. Because, I mean, after those first 2 games against the Kings, I mean, they just completely turned it around. Because they kind of looked lost initially, but they just completely dismantled the Vegas Knights. Completely destroyed the Stars after that first game. Because, I mean, even that first game, it didn't really look that bad, at least for the Oilers, because Dallas just came back. But, yeah. I have a feeling that they'll probably just win.
Edmonton is super opportune. I mean, their power play unit, you cannot go down a man to them. They're going to score. And even in periods where the Stars were dominating,
and as soon as they get off the PK, they're putting in Draisaitl and McDavid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and
because they normally don't put them together, but as soon as that happens, they put them together, and then that's a complete.
It's a disgusting duo.
Havoc, wrecking.
So a second ago, I think here's what led to my confusion to say that Florida was much more dominant over Edmonton last year. I forgot they went to 7. You correctly pointed that out. I looked it up, but Florida was up 3-0. And yeah, Edmonton fought back. They do got McJesus. They pulled a miracle not being eliminated that early, but it was 3-0. And I think at that point, again, this was after the Stars had lost. So it tends to be when my team gets knocked out, I hate the sport that I'm watching that goes for football or basketball. I just don't want to watch it. So it wasn't fresh, but it was 3-0, and I don't think you'll see that in this series at all. I think it will be tightly contested from the get-go. I think that's more of what I was leaning towards when saying what I was expecting from the series.
Yeah, I mean, it was 3-0, but then it was 3-3. So what are you saying?
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, while game 4, while down 3-0, Edmonton wins 8-1. I don't know what the hell Florida put on the ice, but it clearly wasn't good enough. I guess they assumed they had it in the bag at that point. They did not care.
And just a gentleman's sweep, five games.
I suppose so, but I don't think you'll see anyone take a lead like that in this series.
Who knows, dude?
Who knows?
Zach Hyman's out.
He is. Keaton, do you want to go to our predictions?
Okay. So,
well, okay. Well, I didn't mean predictions. I meant I was going with the game prediction. Yeah, the pick'ems, the predictions. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying prediction. All right, last week, Keaton. The spreads. There you go.
Anything other than what you said. Oh.
I'm telling you, my brain is really not working at the moment. But hey, whatever. We'll figure it out. Last week, we both picked Florida -1.5. We both picked Edmonton +1.5. And those ended up coming true. So we were 2-0 last week. Nice, yeah. This week, Keaton, Florida is in Edmonton taking on the Oilers. Edmonton at home -1.5. Who are you taking in that one?
I'm going to roll the Panthers in this one with the spread. It's just going to be an easy dub for that.
All right. Yeah, I too am going with the well-rested, but turns out it's just one extra day, Florida Panthers to go ahead and cover that spread. Oh, well, +1.5, so I guess boosted by the spread? I don't know. Anyway. Keaton, that's not all we're doing when it comes to our predictions. We also pick some plays with Prize Picks. Last week, I got mine right. Finally, we're back on the board in the green.
Nice,
Love it. I'm going to go ahead and continue that this week, where I'm going to go with, have it right here if I pull it up slightly faster. I'm going with Matthew Tkachuk to get over 0.5 points, Dmitry Kulikov to get over 3 hits, and Leon Draisaitl to get over 1.5 shots on goal.
That's a pretty good bet, but I don't think it's going to compare to what I've got cooking. Last week, definitely not the best picks as I failed, but this week, going to change it because we've got Evan Rodriguez for more than 0.5 points, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for more than 0.5 assists, and Connor McDavid for more than 0.5 goals. So,
all right.
RNH is on McDavid's line, so, definitely going to be an easy dub for this week. So, come back and reap the benefits.
All right, we shall see. So I was just about to say, is there anything we're forgetting? There is something that I forgot to mention. Keaton, I'm not sure. Did you see the post-game, postseason interviews between Pete DeBoer and Jake Ottinger by chance?
Not too much, no. Just okay. I know that Jake didn't appreciate being benched, and then DeBoer was like, well, he let 2 in, and that's it.
That's not all DeBoer said. DeBoer goes on to say that they asked him, well, it seemed early, and he goes, well, he's 1-7 against Edmonton. This is not a small sample size. I understand I felt like he was trying to justify his actions rather than like actually trying to remedy the situation at all. There was no need to say it. He was really crapping on Jake Ottinger. There was, to me, no need, no benefit out of mentioning that right there, except for you're trying to save your own ass. So I thought that was pretty disappointing on his side. Ottinger, they asked him about, like, being coached by DeBoer going forward, and he said something along the lines of, like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, one of y'all could be my coach talking to the media room, and, like, I'm still going to, like, come and show up or whatever, do my job. But I don't even think he was trying to take a shot, but to me it's still a shot, because great coaches, no one says, oh, any of y'all can come in and do it and I'll, be good. Like, great coaches, it's a different level of, I won't just, like, do my job. Like, I want to excel at my job or get to that next level. And so I can see or hear the disdain in Ottinger's response, and I can hear a little bit of, like, saving your own ass from DeBoer for taking Ottinger out so early. So I thought that was interesting. I think long-term it'll be fine, but there are definitely some hurt feelings after that Game 5 game, that pulling early.
I mean, honestly, as far as just pulling him in that game, I honestly thought he should have pulled him in Game 2, 3, maybe even 4. Why not? Because at least it gives him mental rest before Game 5 when you actually have an elimination game. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
So,
he
Pete
handled
had
it pretty
mentioned
poorly,
that,
and
I
respect his decision to pull him as far as just he's letting in goals. He shouldn't be doing that. But it's not when you should have done that. Yeah.
And so Pete mentioned at one point, they asked him, like, what all goes into that. And so he was saying, like, well, there's the sample size of, having or missing, I can't even phrase this, but not having success against Edmonton in the postseason for Jake, which, again, is not all on the goalie. Your team is scoring like 1 goal a game, dog, and can't score right.
Because, I mean, as soon as Smith took over, didn't he let in a goal within 5 or 10 minutes?
He did, but I don't think he did. I don't think there's anything
it wasn't the worst
Smith could have done.
Thing he could have done. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I just knew
the goal that sealed it was a breakaway. It was McDavid. And, okay, so Casey DeSmith's shorter, and the way McDavid scored, it was, like, just out of the reach of his skate. If McDavid attacked the exact same way and Ottinger was in net, it could be saved. But the thing about McDavid is I think he would have personalized that to Ottinger. I think he knows tendencies and would have been able, on a breakaway, to get by Otter. So I can't blame DeSmith again on that one. Side note, the guy tracking back on our team trying to catch up is Rope Hentz, who does a fine enough job on a fractured goddamn foot. If Nurse doesn't hit him, who knows? But anyway, I can't blame Casey DeSmith for letting in the one-on-one breakaway with goddamn Connor McDavid, man. I felt like, honestly, a lot of the goals scored this series or throughout the playoffs were just nonsense that couldn't be avoided. But yeah, Ottinger wasn't to blame on those first 2 goals, in my opinion. I don't think you should have pulled them, but I think Pete reacted just with...
I think the second goal was on him, but that's about it.
The thing is, I think Pete's mind was made up after the first goal that, like, if something occurred this period, I'm pulling him regardless. And so I think it was just rash. I don't think it was like a response to poor play. Hasty. I think it was very hasty. And so, and he talked about him and his coaches discussed potentially resting Ottinger, and they never did. And so his final analysis of the situation was, you've been bad against Edmonton. I thought you needed a rest, and we need a spark, so let me put in Casey. And so he pulled him extremely early, and it obviously didn't work out, and maybe if Ottinger stays, it still doesn't. But I just thought it was too early, especially with a young stud like Ottinger in net. I don't know. I didn't like it too much personally. I wouldn't have minded if Casey Smith started a game earlier this series, like you had mentioned. Casey Smith also finished the season very well, so he's a good backup. I just didn't like how that was managed between DeBoer, the coaching staff, and then Ottinger as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we, discuss that a little bit. Keaton, is there anything else that I may be forgetting?
I don't know, dog. Do you know anything that you forget?
Let me go through my notes real quick. I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding. I'm good. I think I got everything here.
Nice, dude.
All right.
Well, see you next week.
Yep,
have a good one.
Peace.